Back in 2008, Cartoon Network released the third modern Batman cartoon, Batman the Brave and the Bold. Unlike its predecessors, Batman the Animated Series and The Batman... No, not that one. There we go. It wasn't a show that took itself seriously, as it fell more for a 7 to 10 range in entertainment, unlike the others which had more darker themes to its stories, character designs, and even colors. But that doesn't mean all of Brave and the Bold were campy and silly like Music Meister or the Green Arrow, Plastic Man, and Aquaman recounting their first team-ups with Batman, or basically any episode with Aquaman. I swear if I hear one more...
Outrageous!
I'm gonna start pulling my own beard hair out. I felt that the show was after my time as I was becoming a teenager and was watching more adult-oriented shows like Family Guy, American Dad, and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. However, this show did have a huge special guest cast, including several former Batmen like Adam West, Kevin Conroy, and even though he had a more prominent character role in the show, Will Friedle. Not just them, several big actors like Mark Hamill, Michael Jai White, Michael Rosenbaum, R. Lee Ermey, and several other ones that worked in other comic book shows like Morena Baccarin, Clancy Brown, and Neil Patrick Harris. So I did want to acknowledge the show, as it does have its fair share of more serious episodes, but extremely goofy ones. So I'll start off with my favorite of the more goofy ones, The Legend of the Darkmite. The episode starts off with its episodic bumper that most episodes of the show had, where Batman teams up with a hero of some sort to fight the foe. This one having Ace the Bat Hound joining him in fighting Catman, voiced by Biff Tannen himself, Thomas F. Wilson. After the opening, a couple of bank robbers are confronted by Batman, but instead of fighting, they agree to come along so they don't get the shit kicked out of them. However, an invisible voice forces them to fight before adding more people and changing them into ninjas. Batman, frustrated at what's happening, calls out to the voice to show itself. The voice brings him to a statue where we get a view of who's behind it. Batmite, a fifth-dimensional imp with reality warping powers voiced by Pee Wee Herman Paul Rubin. So, here's the thing about fifth-dimensional beings. We've seen several of them in other shows and comics, the most well-known one being Mr. Mixius Pitlick, a Superman villain who can only be defeated by getting him to say or spell his name out backwards. Batmite isn't a villain. He's just a fanboy who idolizes Batman a little too much and ends up annoying him more than anything. Batmite shows his powers by warping Batman into different variations of himself, including his campy 60s version, his overly exaggerated nipples 90s version, and his Frank Miller famous Dark Knight Returns version, before deciding to pit Batman against a powerful foe. He goes through a few before Batman tricks him into summoning a weaker foe, specifically Calendar Man, who in more recent comics, games, and movies is actually pretty scary since he has several murders under his
Daily Planner.
And the only reason he was caught was because he murdered on well-known holidays like Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, and Christmas. Batmite wasn't impressed, so he made Calendar Man more powerful with the ability to use his powers for any holiday-based attacks he wanted. After summoning Jack-o'-lanterns, biker Santas, buff Uncle Sams, and mutant Easter bunnies, Batmite pauses the show to go to a comic and more convention to get the fans' reactions on the bunnies. After a speech on the roots and history of Batman, it's decided the bunnies stay and we return to our regularly scheduled broadcast of violence. After Batman defeats Calendar Man, Batmite wants to keep the action going before Batman persuades Batmite to return to his dimension with a signed Batarang. Batman is returned to the two bank robbers before he beats them and returns to the Batcave where he vents to Ace about his night, before the real Ace shows up, revealing Batmite never went home and is upset with how Batman views him. Batmite decides to use his powers to play with Batman like a toy, making him fight odd monsters until Batman decides to just stop fighting and sit.
Hold everything!
Batman decides that since Batmite knows so much about him, he should be Batman. And Batmite obliges and recreates the famous Batman atop the building during a lightning storm shot from Batman the Animated Series. Batman tells the story of Gorilla Grodd stealing a piece of equipment from the Science Museum and Batmite needing to stop it. However, After averting Grodd, he's dropped into a dark abyss where eyes open, and we get a funny nod to an old Daffy Duck cartoon. Specifically, the Great Piggy Bank Robbery from 1946. Here, check it out.
Mr. Polka Dot! The Polka Dot Man! Tweedledee and Tweedledum! Killer Moth! Mr. Zero! Kite Man! And Zebra Man! You're all going down!
Snake Eyes. Ah! Piggy teeth! Oh, Hammerhead! Oh no! Pussycat Puss! Batman! Double header! Pickle Puss! Pumpkinhead! Neon Noodle! Jukebox Jaw! Wolfman! Ruff! Ruff! You're all under arrest!
Batmite is unable to defeat the foes as his imagination has run away, making the villains bigger, more imposing, and more powerful than he can handle. He begs for Batman to help him, realizing that being the Cape Crusader isn't as easy as he thought. Batman steps in when requested and easily takes the foes down. Batmite concentrates his power, putting an end to the imagination. He acknowledges his faults, and Batman gives him some words of encouragement before teleporting Batman back to the cave and joining Green Arrow after he defeats Copperhead.
That's all, folks!
Like I said, this was a more goofy episode, and in all honesty, it's not even the goofiest episode, which is saying a lot, since Batmite took a lot from Merry Melodies, and those are the goofiest cartoons out there. But let's go to the other end, and what I think is the darkest episode of the show, Chill of the Night. Of course, there's an opening bumper involving Abracadabra, a Flash villain from the 64th century and magician who was taken down by the only appearance of Zatanna in the show, and I'm talking more than the end of the series meetup from all the characters in Mightfall. I still find it weird seeing Darkseid pouring a cup of punch. This episode starts off with a retelling of the deaths of Martha and Thomas Wayne. Thomas being played by 60s Batman himself, Adam West, while Martha is played by one of the several Catwomen from the show, Julie Newmar. How is it that Batman and Catwoman always end up together somehow when their only canonical marriage was erased after Crisis on Infinite Earths? After a montage of Batman training, we see the scales of justice and vengeance holding up heroes and villains. We see the Phantom Stranger and the Spectre looking at the scales, commenting on Batman.
What would you have, Spectre? Batman to become like you?
You know the reason for this meeting. Batman's darkest hour is at hand. Soon he will confront the man who took his parents from him.
Phantom Stranger is played by another Batman, Kevin Conroy, while Spectre is played by Mark Hamill, Kevin's Joker. This episode is stacked. The Stranger and Spectre put up a wager onto what Batman will do when he meets Joe Chill. Spectre's wager is that if Batman kills Chill, he will be under Spectre's control so he can put criminals down without conscience or mercy. But should the Stranger win, Batman can walk his own path. We return to the mortal world where a priest walks into the room of a dying man, Lou Moxon, who hired the man who killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. With his dying breath, he says, Chill. The priest leaves the room, and once he's out of the hospital, it's revealed to be Batman himself. Arriving to a bar where people are celebrating Moxon's life, Batman shows up with a voice more ferocious than he's used before, and his costume is actually darker.
Then you've never reckoned with the force of justice.
Not the blue we're used to him wearing, but a navy blue, maybe even peacock blue. Look, I googled that shit because I wanted to know. Don't judge me. He holds one of the mobsters over a fire, demanding the name of the man who killed the Waynes. Before he drops the man into the fire, Phantom Stranger shows up to stop him and takes him back to a gala where his parents are. The Stranger allows him a chance to speak to his parents again before a younger Moxon comes in to steal from the gala, revealing Joe Chill was there and had a gun to Martha's head. This was the incident Moxon was talking about when he mentioned his stint at Blackgate and the reason for the hit on Thomas Wayne. Before Batman can chase Chill, the Spectre comes in to remind him that the gala happened years ago, and there's no changing it. Batman is frustrated with the Stranger and Spectre impeding his investigation. The Spectre wants to know what Batman will do when he finds the gunman. Batman isn't certain, so Spectre transports Batman to Blackgate Prison, where Chill shows up, a guard confirming his name to Batman.
10 minutes, Jill.
Moxon isn't happy to see Chill, but Chill informs Moxon that he'll even the score, and without flinching, Moxon tells him to make it look like an accident, infuriating Batman.
So just like that, he signed away their lives. So casually, without remorse, without blinking a filthy eye.
Batman demands to be taken to his cave where he can finally get the name of his parents' killer and what he does. We cut to Joe Chill in an arms auction with several of Batman's rogues. Batman shows up and without bantering, he takes all of his enemies in a cloud of smoke before confronting Joe Chill. He beats Joe before revealing himself, letting Joe know he created Batman.
I am the son of the man you murdered. I am Bruce Wayne.
He then beats Joe some more before the Phantom Stranger and Spectre show up like the Shoulder Angel and Devil, each trying to coerce him into doing the opposite of the other. Spectre informs Batman that since Joe knows who Batman is, leaving him alive risks everything, but Batman decides that he won't kill him.
Batman may die, but Bruce Wayne... never.
Chill runs out of the room and stupidly tells the rogues he created Batman. Joker finds it funny, but is the first person to punch Chill before Batman comes out to take his foes down again. A struggle between Batman and Joker over the gun Chill was trying to sell brings the building down on top of him, killing him. It is hinted that Spectre is the reason for it to fall on top of him, which makes sense considering the Spectre is the avenging wrath of God. The episode ends with Batman hanging his father's gala costume up.
Case closed.
Wow. Not what you'd expect from a show that thrived on the campiness of the Silver Age era of comics. I mean, it's not the only episode with dark themes, as there's an episode about the Doom Patrol, and it ends with them... well, no spoilers. But I'm sad I wrote this off when I was a kid. Hell, it started airing 4 months after I turned 12. I was still watching cartoons then. Not really the new stuff, but I didn't sway away from new cartoons at the time completely. And overall, this show was a good show, even with...
outrageous!
those. And it had good messages for kids and themes adults would enjoy. I highly recommend this show, as it's only 3 seasons with just 65 episodes, and most are very good. Give it a watch and enjoy the last Batman cartoon of the 2000s. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good day, good evening, whatever your time zone. Bye-bye.